Welcome to In Focus with Eden Lane.
Hi, I'm Eden Lane. Thanks for joining me for In Focus. I'm standing in the theater at Miners Alley Playhouse during opening night for The Cripple of Inishmaan, and it runs for just a very short time. But tonight we visit Wonderbound to meet the entire company of dancers as they prepare for their latest concert. And later we'll visit with some filmmakers with a Colorado connection for their newest short project, Brown Ballerina. We begin with their latest short film. This is Wonderbound.
Even bass drum got me dancing. Devil trombone got me dancing.
At Wonderbound, we believe in the strength of the individual, the power of community, and the immeasurable potential of collaboration. We revel in the intersection of tradition and ingenuity, vulnerability and courage, intimacy and openness. We value quality, rigorously pursued, passion tenaciously engaged, and dreams followed relentlessly.
If you break down Wonderbound's goal, I think it's simply the endeavor to inspire people to dream. We all know what it is to struggle. We all know what it is to be scared. We all know what it is to love. We all know what it is to have joy. What that looks like specifically for every individual might be different in the context of their narrative, but those fundamental experiences, those emotions, are universal.
Well, I think there are a number of things about Wonderbound that are exciting and different. Perhaps any one of which by itself is not entirely unique, but when you put them all together, I think makes for a pretty extraordinary package.
Wonderbound is really a big idea.
On a daily basis, people's lives are touched. It's kind of overwhelming in a really awesome way.
We really looked at the art form and said, what are the things within these traditions that are important, and which things can be let go of?
I think perhaps in other companies, you're not encouraged to experiment because it's so new and it's so different. You can't follow the formula for other dance companies.
So you go to see Wonderbound and you're seeing the work of a great dance company, but a great dance company working with a symphony orchestra, and maybe that's not that unusual, but also working with an indie rock band, or working with a magician, or working with a spoken word artist, or maybe all of them together on one program.
Each one of these collaborations, I have grown so much personally as an artist in what I'm doing, and so I hope that, you know, with each one of these that I do, I continue to evolve.
It adds art to the neighborhood. It adds drama to the neighborhood. It adds flavor to the neighborhood.
This is where the creative work can be its most impactful and set kind of a new cultural baseline.
On a daily basis, our biggest audience is the homeless. All the dancers, staff, and collaborators at Wonderbound engage with them. We talk about the neighborhood, our new projects, and rehearsals. These people have no dance background whatsoever, but they keep tabs on the dancers' progression, and that has made them our best critics because they really understand our process.
So this is not about changing the community. It's frankly about changing the lives of the people that are in that neighborhood, including the homeless.
That's not a simple path, and that's okay.
We truly believe that the arts are a vehicle for social change, and we're lucky enough to see it every day.
They work in the community, work with schools, work in senior centers.
Wonderbound's community education programs bring dance into the lives of over 18,000 at-risk kids every year. With arts programming continually being cut in the schools, these experiences are vital.
You'll see, like, when the kids are really interested, you know, they'll be sitting like really tall and they'll nod. Or sometimes, like, someone will do something beautiful in a parada and the kids will be like, good job, good job.
Through Project Generations, we bring dance back into the lives of seniors at 4 assisted living facilities and 1 Alzheimer's unit.
Going into a memory care facility almost like home, meeting a gentleman there who was a phenomenal dancer and had no recollection of where he learned or where he had danced before. I started to notice that somebody was coming to dance with him when I was having the groups. Over time I learned that it was his wife. When she danced with him, he remembered that he was married to her.
There's this tendency to forget that the elderly actually want to be a part of the present and not just live in the past. They have a hunger to learn, they want to be creative, and they want to be engaged and active.
What's interesting to me about Wonderbound is that they're able to have all these other elements, you know, connection to neighborhood and place, connection to other art forms, connection to working on other social issues through the power of dance. But all of that comes from, at its core, great art. And that's really, really, really hard to do.
Do you consider us your friends?
Friends into family, okay.
Now my meeting with the company. All of the dancers agreed to stay late after a full day of rehearsal. Thanks for staying late tonight and letting us get acquainted again with some of you and meet the others of you in the company. It's so rare that we get to talk to the dancers in a large company like this. I appreciate it. Some of you have been with this company for quite some time. And it's really changed, not just changed names, but changed artistic direction, changed configuration. And I want to get a sense from those of you who have been here a while, where you feel like you are now as a company and as artists, as members of the hairs of Wonderbound.
It's been a really long journey, and it's really traveled far. Because when we think about how removed we were from Denver and all the arts and the happenings here, we were all the way out in Broomfield. So it was hard for people to really know us between shows. So I think that has been a huge thing for me. There's a pride now when I get to say, I dance with Wonderbound, and we're downtown, we're in Denver. And if you want to, just come by on your lunch break and see us work. And that is
That's really very different, the access that the whole community has to all of you. What's it like for you?
I love it. It's a lot of fun being downtown. It's fun being in our neighborhood. We have access to so many different people.
But artistically, it's really changed as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially from the time that you've been with the company.
Yes, oh my gosh, the changes are amazing. They're so welcomed. We collaborate with so many different people, musicians, visual artists, poets, and within all of those, the types of musicians we collaborate with are very different. Types of visual artists and poets. So it's so exciting. You never know what's going to happen when you come here, and that's, for me, is it's a total adventure at all times. So we're always in the here and now, like really living in the moment.
How about you?
For me as a dancer, a lot of the changes have happened more slowly rather than big, this is how we do it now, this is what we're going to be now. That's kind of happened very gradually and naturally, so you don't really think it's changed that much until you look back and you're like, oh no, that's
and look around.
Yeah, it's sort of like, oh yeah, we just kind of slowly started doing that. And
You've gone from being a suburban, semi-professional ballet company to being a real world-class contemporary dance company. And that's not just the artistic staff that's done that. That's you. That's all of you. The technique that you bring, the artistry that you bring, and the connection that you're willing to have with the audience that comes to see you now is very different than almost any other dance company I can think of around. What is it like to have this be your artistic life as dancers?
It's rich. not many, like you said, not many artists, particularly dance artists, get to experience what we do on a regular basis. And we really have the best of both worlds. We have the classical class, and then we get our physicality down into the floor and do contemporary work all day, and get to be in this neighborhood with doors open, and inspiration just doesn't stop. I think it's rich, as opposed to being in a studio. You're boxed in, no natural light, mirrors, etiquette. I mean, we have, of course, have etiquette. I'm not saying we don't. So
I have a feeling that requires a second visit for me to explore.
It's not sterile.
That's a very good way to put it. Another thing that you all get to experience as dancers that's really unusual is this season, just like last season, you're dancing to live music for every show. Tell me about that satisfaction of being able to connect with live musicians when you perform.
It's exciting stuff. It's always the musicians, the tempos vary, so it always keeps it really exciting when we're performing, because you never know kind of what range of tempo you're going to get and how exactly they're going to feel the music that day. And so it does the same thing for your dancing, keeps it fresh.
In what way does it keep it fresh for you? What do you mean when you say it keeps it fresh? Any of you?
Don't ever go on that autopilot where your body just knows what to do. So you're constantly listening, see what they're going to do, and are they going to be fast or slow or different from the last time you heard it?
I think you get really close to the musicians. You really feel a part of the music and a part of their experience as well.
Because for some of them, it's an unusual circumstance to play for other artists the way they're getting to do when they work with you. This company has grown to a place where the artistic leadership is so confident, they give all of you many more opportunities to create on your own. Tell me a little bit about that.
I think it's kind of unique because not a lot of dancers want to dance just one choreographer's work these days. So kind of like in the past how New York City ballet dancers all danced Balanchine's works. Now it's kind of a trend to go out and dance, Forsyth and Martha Graham, and go out and branch out. But there's also value in getting to know very intimately one choreographer's style. And I think that's something that we have here. And we all know Garrett's, his signature moves, and we have names for them. So it's
Any names you want to share with me?
We have a monkey walk, the mall wall,
Lazy Susan.
Lazy Susan.
Princess Leia.
Princess Leia.
The walk around your hand.
Yeah. So we know his vocabulary, and that allows us to tap into what the possibilities could be.
The other part of that is that he and the company gives you each a chance to create work. Tell me about that, being in a company and getting to create the work that will happen with your peers.
I can speak to that. It's so exciting, and I think that it's definitely a lot of pinch me moments because we do know each other really well, and so to have the respect of your peers, to trust you, to try new things, try things that you might not have been willing to try otherwise. It's an honor.
I know you've been able to create here also. Did you want to add anything?
It's funny because we have those opportunities, and then we also have industrial project, and we all get to choreograph on each other, and it seems like the type of program that you want to put your voice out there as an artist, but we have such a rich atmosphere here daily that sometimes a program like that is not necessary for us because we get to do that so much on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So it's just, that's one thing that I realized about choreographing and choreographing on each other. I feel like I'm so fulfilled during the season that I don't need anything extra.
Don't need anything extra.
Other than dancing.
What a beautiful thing to be able to say about the kind of work that you do. Sadly, our time is almost up, and I feel like, you know, we don't get to visit with you all very often. So I want to draw the people in who haven't spoken up yet and see if there's anything you want to tell me that's important for viewers and people who love Wonderbound to understand about when they come to see you, who you are, what is your life like as an artist in this company?
It's very committed. We're all 100% into it every day for each other and for the art, and I think that is something the audience can really feel and see when they come to a performance here in our space or even on stage. It's not, you know, halfway. It's always full on with feeling.
You don't mark your life.
No,
when you work.
Exactly. You have to go full out and bring yourself 100% each day, which is fun and it's exciting because we get to see each other at our best and our worst every day. So you get to see that.
That sounds like another visit too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it might be a few visits.
And you too. I want to hear from you too as well.
Kind of going off of that, I think we're all very passionate dancers, and I think like passionate and emotional, and I feel like that also brings in the audiences. We don't just do the steps, we put a lot of feeling and emotion and thought into every step that we do.
Yeah, I mean, it's going off of that as well. It's interesting learning about every person in this company and realizing how different we are from each other, but also how we have these normal tendencies that everyone else has that comes in to watch us. You know, we'll see someone that'll be watching us on the couch, maybe having a glass of wine or something, and we can make that connection because we're right there with them. Even though we're up on that stage performing, we have things that are on the outside that make us normal people, and in here it's like an intimate space where you can really feel a connection with people and you can kind of live their everyday life with them, and then you can go and actually have a conversation with them, whereas, you know, if you're just in a performance, you might not get that opportunity.
Yeah.
You might not be able to go out and really talk to audience members, but seeing that work ethic when they're watching us and then being able to go and experience their everyday life as well, it just makes it so much deeper for anyone who comes in here, and it's really something that you can't find much anywhere else. It's great.
That sounds wonderful. It's so rare that we get a chance to talk to you all anymore because you're here working all the time, and I really appreciate you staying a little later today just to give us a tiny little glimpse. And many of you have raised topics that I need to come back. We have to have a longer conversation about. You know, you're one of my favorite companies in the country, and I'm so delighted that you're right here in Denver. Thank you for making time for me. Thank you. Wonderbound's next creation, Marie with the Baroque Chamber Orchestra of Colorado, plays February 14th through the 22nd. Details are online at wonderbound.com. Now we meet the three women behind the short film Brown Ballerina. Well, how fun to get to meet you before your big event in Denver supporting this really kind of special short film, Brown Ballerina. Yes. And you're the reason they have a Colorado connection because our viewers already know you.
Yes.
Because you live here, you're an actor and a singer here.
Yes.
What was it like on the set?
It was crazy,
Yes.
as usual, but it was great because I got to work with people who really all loved the project, who were all dedicated to the project and understood my vision. So everyone kind of like took it to another level. So it came out better than I expected it to be, but set life is just always crazy.
Yes.
But it was
And
fun.
you were the woman in the middle during the filming and today.
Yes.
What was it like working with these sisters, being their lead actor and dancer in this film?
It was wonderful because the energy on set was very home-like, and it just wasn't uptight. It was very relaxed and loving, and it was just wonderful energy. And I learned a lot from the both of them and about myself. And
Have you done a film before?
This is my first film.
This is your debut.
Yes.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I enjoyed watching it. And I think it's a really compelling topic. It's the kind of topic that I think far too many people are afraid to even talk about.
Yeah.
So tell me, how did you start this project? What motivated you to want to tell this story about a woman of color trying to be a classical ballerina?
Well, I wrote the script for Brown Ballerina when I was about 15, and it was actually inspired after my sister because she was a brown ballerina, and just seeing all of her experiences and trials and tribulations that she and friends of ours were going through.
Beyond just being a dancer.
Yeah. But I mean, even with me in the industry of film, like I think it's universal because all of us go through those type of things, like not being the right size or color or age. So
all women go through that.
Yes.
Then if you layer on race on top of it, it makes it so much more complicated.
Absolutely.
In so many areas.
Absolutely. So it's definitely geared toward women in any type of situation. So.
The two of you both have classical training. What's
Yes.
it like as a woman of color to attempt to enter that world that seems so closed for so long? Even though we see a crack right now with Misty Copeland, even she still feels that restriction.
Yes.
Tell me what it's like to be an artist trying to express yourself in that context.
It's definitely challenging because you have to have the type of support where people are able to tell you and you are able to listen to them and be able to break those boundaries. Those who don't have support and that
and not just their families, but a teacher too.
Yes, yes.
They have to be willing to
Instructors
give
who
you the
will
correction.
tell you this is right or this is wrong. For teachers to pay attention to you. Sometimes you're sitting there or you're in class and you're working hard and they're just like, do that. And you're like, okay.
Because in ballet, in case someone doesn't know it, if a teacher spends time giving you correction, that's a compliment.
Yes,
that's the
exactly.
intention.
Yes.
And if they just don't give you the kind of correction, it's because they don't see you.
Yes.
They don't care.
The young dancers who might be white, who have a different body shape, certainly can understand exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But it goes deeper than that, doesn't it? Deeper than just your body shape.
Yeah, but I feel that some teachers automatically, or just choreographers, just tell us that we're too big because it's the normal big lips, big nose, big hips, and even if you don't have it, they'll still tell you that you do, and that's a reason why
Which they
you
did to
can't.
Misty Copeland.
Exactly. Yes.
And she's
Have you ever seen her dance?
Yes.
Stick there.
Just
Yeah.
the pictures alone is like, what are you doing with your
Yeah.
body? She's gorgeous.
And she can dance
Yes.
as well as any other classically trained ballerina, right?
Yes.
Very well, even better.
Yes.
So when you see that, knowing that the world hasn't changed yet, does it impact your hope as an artist in any way?
For me, it actually adds more fire. Just to say, we can, I can. There's no difference between you and I, or her and her. It doesn't matter. So it doesn't bring me back. It actually pushes me forward.
And it pushes me to not only push myself, but to push my students. Because sometimes they're like, oh, well, Miss such and such said that I can't do this. And I'm like, oh no, we don't accept what we can't do. We talk about what we can do. Because if we continue to talk about what we can't do, then all we'll ever talk about is can't. And that word does not enter my classroom, so.
Another thing you were able to tackle in this very short film is there's not just the preconceived notion about women of color being ballet dancers from the world of ballet, but you even took a moment to touch on the idea that within the community of color, there is an unsupportive reaction to a woman of color wanting to be a ballerina.
It's because it's not a part of, I would say, our culture. It's not a stereotypical thing. Even when you hear the word ballet, you think of a very skinny, petite, Caucasian woman, or not even a Hispanic, Chinese. You just think of that image in your head, and that's something that I
always
wanted
in
to bring
full-on
out.
classical white tutus.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
Ballet is so much more than that.
Right. But It's definitely a lot of that in our own community. And me and my sister, which is why I wanted to show even more when we do a feature, we grew up and people thought we were weird and different because
Yes.
I was just creative everything. And she was doing ballet when most people are playing basketball or want to be football players. So
The funny thing is, if they just took a moment to realize that ballet can enhance all of those other activities. Tap dancing, ballet,
And
football.
football players take up ballet classes,
Yeah.
which a lot of people don't know. It's just not, it's an acquired taste. Even people who aren't of color, it's a special group of people who really know ballet, who really talks about it, who are interested, who go to the shows. So I wanted everyone to, kind of experience this different type of dance that's so emotional and tells stories in a different way.
So you're speaking to a wider variety of audiences. You're not lecturing to any of them. You're just holding up a mirror in a way.
Exactly. Just showing something that's never been shown before, a story that no one has seen like this. So I definitely wanted to just do something completely different as a filmmaker to kind of establish who I was.
You mentioned that you began this in your heart and in your soul and in your head when you were
Yeah,
15. So
I
it
had
was
a
long
dream
before we
about
had
it.
all heard of Misty.
Yes, and it was perfect timing, it seems, that I did this film. So many other Black dancers are coming out. Jordan, Michelle Lady Prince. She's also an extremely good,
She's
ballet dancer of
beautiful.
color. So, and she's one of the most sought out dancers in the world. So.
And with Ballet Russe, there were dancers of color who
Yes.
experienced intense racism where the
Yeah.
company was unsafe to go in certain places. So this conversation has been going on longer than any of us have been here. And the fact that you're willing to contribute to this conversation is really important as a young filmmaker.
Yeah.
And a young woman of color who's a filmmaker. It's beautiful that you're telling a story that began in your own family. And I love that you were brave enough as a young filmmaker to take the story that you found as a 15-year-old girl and turn it into it. Even the short is a huge success.
Thank you.
Congratulations
Thank you.
on the project. It's a lovely project. I so enjoyed getting to see it and getting to learn more about it from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
More information about this project is available online at brownballerinafilm.com.
Remember to join us on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for watching. Good night.
Snuggle bug.